Hi there, this is Paul Thompson from Spitfire Audio. I'm very excited today to be able to show you the first look at the Hans Zimmer piano. This is a project that we began planning with Hans in March 2014, so it's had a very long kind of planning and gestation period. We've been into Air Studios many times to do different tests, to try things out, work out the best way of recording this, and then finally for days and days and days of actual recordings and session time. The idea being that we really wanted to do this in such a way that we never wanted to go back in and do it again. So to really try and produce something that for us was the kind of ultimate sampled grand piano in a beautiful room. And part of the reason initially for doing this and for Hans wanting to do this was there have been many occasions when after sessions have finished late at night, he's been in there just improvising and playing on the piano in the amazing acoustic of Lyndhurst Hall, and had found inspiration, and little nuggets of future scores have emerged from these sessions. So it's really to kind of try and create something that's incredibly inspirational, very detailed, has a lot of really interesting sounds in there, which I'll go through, but also has a lot of variety of different kinds of microphones, fabulously recorded for us by Jeff Foster. So I'm going to leap straight in. I'm going to show you how the library kind of comes. You'll see that there are the four patches that immediately sit inside the instruments folder are full and bright, and this is a selection of mics. Now we have 4 sets of spot mics and 4 sets of mid mics. I'll go through the other stuff as we get to it. But what we've done is we've initially curated these so that you've got a kind of, close, mid, room, and then kind of surround type of sound. And you've got these 4 mics. So look, I'm going to just play first of all. So here is spot A, and each of these selections have different kind of characteristics. So this, as it says, is the kind of the brightest spot mic. So just to jump in and show you the difference between the different mics. So we're on to mid C, and that sounds like this. And then if we go to the room selection for this one, and then we listen to the surround, almost distant, not literally surround in the sense of 5.1, but this is the one that you might direct out the back if you were working in surround. So you get the idea. So what we can do is we can actually blend these in a kind of in our own kind of special arrangement and just see. And if you want to get something that's more of a kind of mainly on the close spot mics, and then a little bit of mid, just to give you a little bit of the kind of air around the room. So you hear that's kind of giving you that balance. If I reverse this, as the sound hits the different microphones, then you're getting a kind of, you're kind of feeling and hearing the distance there. And these are slightly laggier. If you turn off the spot mic and just use the mids, for example, or just the rooms, then you'll find that there is a kind of delay, but there's slight lagginess to the playing. Now inside here in this folder, we've got distance compensated patches, and these are the individual mics, but it compensated in the kind of Deutsche Grammophon way that, if I'm going to duplicate this, let's say that I want spot A and mid C exactly the same. So let me first of all drag up spot A into there, and then I'm going to drag mid C. I'll get these both coming out of the same, both playing from the same MIDI channel. And then if I play now, now you'll see that what you're hearing there is lined up. So it has that kind of really punchy, immediate sound that you get when you take an ambient recording and you line up, you phase align effectively all of the microphones. So this is a really great option here. It can give you an incredibly interesting, detailed sound. You can get exactly the kind of amount of spaciousness, the kind of perspective that you want, but without sacrificing clarity. So that's a really useful thing. So let's go back to where we were. So we're going to stick with the. Actually, no. First thing I want to do is I want to show you what's in the individual folders here. So you've got the individual signal mics there. These are non-distance compensated. So if you just want to load up, if you want a combination that's say mid A and far gallery, you can load that up, and then you get that sound with the distance, with the kind of slight delay before the far gallery kicks in. So those are incredibly useful. The mic selections, these are like our full and bright. These have been curated in such a way that you've got different microphones for different kind of overall sounds. So the warm and rounded, we'll start with the spot Ds. These are the warmest of the spots. These we felt matched up really well with the mid Ds, alt room, and the far gallery. And then again, you can go into kind of low and weighted and light and bright. Now, if we go into mic sets, we've got the mid mics here, and then we've got the spot mics. So I'm going to load up the spots so I can compare for you. These are the 4 different close mic options. So we heard, let's remind ourselves, we heard that A as the kind of first one up, that was the brightest. This is spot B. So that's a really nice sound. If we go to spot C, that sounds like this. So that's again very different. And then D. So just lovely different sounds. So you can obviously put these in combination. So if we decided that we wanted to get D is our kind of, that's a nice warm sound. Let's just listen back through them again. C, slightly more upfront, slightly narrower sound. B is a really great, intimate, kind of around your ears sound. And then A is the most immediate and punchy. So maybe A and C would make quite a nice combo. So you get the idea. Really lovely. You can literally, I haven't even started adjusting stuff, but you can get exactly the right character of sound that you want. For me, it's one of the things that I love about this is it's very balanced sound. So you don't get any kind of areas of the piano that are really kind of poking through and being slightly too upfront, or a lot of the pianos that I've played have either their bottom end is too woolly and slightly too kind of muffled, or the top end is a bit brittle, or maybe the mid range pokes through too much. But this is really beautifully balanced across the instrument, and we've worked hard. We've spent quite a number of different iterations going through determining what the best kind of balance is between the really soft stuff and the really loud stuff, scaling things to the keyboard so that they work in the best possible way, and just really trying to get this to be as playable as possible. Now you've got some controls here when we're talking about keyboard weighting. Obviously, many of you will have your keyboard set up with your kind of preferred response curve. But to help you tailor things more closely to the keyboard, we've got a variety of different settings in here. And with the combination of these and your own kind of preferred keyboard settings on your own actual controller keyboard, you should be able to get exactly the kind of response that you want from the piano. The default piano that we've been working on, or the default controller, is the LMK4. It's the Dürpfer LMK4, which is the controller that Hans uses. It's also the controller that I use in my studio. I also have a Kurzweil, the 88-note Kurzweil 3 series. The Kurzweil and the Dürpfer use essentially the same keybed. Obviously, the responses can be programmed within the software, but the keybed is the high-end Fatar keybed, which is just a lovely weighted, very piano-like feel. So you might find that if you're using this on a semi-weighted or a completely unweighted keyboard, that you'll want to kind of tweak the controls in here, or maybe even look at some of the settings in your response curves on the keyboard itself. So that's about how the spots work, how the response works. Let's look at the mids, and then we'll go. Once we've looked at these, we'll go back to the spots and I'll show you some of the different sounds in the library. So our mid mics, these are probably maybe about 3 meters away from the piano. So they're before you kind of get too far into the room, but they do give you a really nice, slightly set back sound. So this is the mid A mic. So that's the A. Let's have a listen to the B. I'm kind of playing the same thing, partly because limited chops, but also partly so that you can hear kind of similar material on each mic. And then our C mids. So you can hear there, interestingly, with a very different polar pattern, you're hearing more of the room coming into those mids, and here are the D mids. So again, we can kind of look at putting together different combos to see, to find the right sound. Maybe we want to try adding in the C's. And you can just blend together to get exactly the sound that you want. Now, note that, again, we've got the option to go for the timing corrected mics as well. This is more kind of for comparison if you want to load up the spots or the mids or both and just see contextually which kind of fits in with the track that you're writing better. So let's go back to our full and bright patch. This is based on spot A, and then we've got a couple of other mics for the ambience as we discussed earlier. But I'm going to show you now the different patches, the other 3 patches that you'll find in each of these sections. So we'll start with our super soft. Now, one of the things that we spent a lot of time doing in this library was recording and capturing very, very, very soft performances, which was an interesting combination. There was some technology that we designed, or rather Hans's team designed along the way to try out different things. We came up with a couple of different options, human options, where we had I did a couple of passes myself. We had an incredible pianist, Simon Chamberlain, came in and did a couple of passes for really super soft stuff, and then Simon and Paul Clarvis did a ton of really amazing effects, which we're going to get into shortly. But this is what we have kind of curated down for our super soft patch, and this is that kind of really magical, very, very, very soft performance. but within the soft performance, you've got some dynamic range, and then that's been spread up over the whole velocity range. So you can play, and you can perform, real kind of dynamic, but kind of artificially compressed within that super soft range. So check this out. Have a listen to these with the different mics. Just lovely stuff. Check. Really beautiful. Check out the room. It's pretty special stuff. Very, very inspiring to play. And check out the most distance, the surround mics within this patch. So some really nice stuff in there. Let's go back to spot A. And then let's have a look at some of the different things in here. So we've got percussive effects. Now we're back into the slightly different code base for this because we're into articulation land. So we've got a ton of stuff in here. I'm just going to give you a quick blast. So these kind of hits body in here just whack up all of the mics. So you hear there, you've got all of the ambience coming through. I'm going to go back to the spot so you can hear really what's going on. We've got some lid and body effects. Really nice stuff. Let's pull those off. We've got another set of those. Some rattly stuff. And drags. I'm just playing through these. Really lovely stuff. Some nail scrapes. Side hits. So you can hear as I'm changing, we could even go all distant. Lovely sounds. Let's go back to the spots. Keep going through. Some gorgeous stuff in here. Now, check this out with the room on. We've got those fantastic Super Bowl sounds. Now, if we go for this one, you can hear the pedal sound continuing. So that's a really lovely thing as well. So that's the first set of effects. Now, if we go into various effects, we have a couple of different options. So what we're calling alien effects, and let's hear those with all the mics. Some really lovely stuff there. Now, let's go back to the spots on their own. I'm going to show you these with the individual mics on their own because these sound really lovely. Some great stuff in here. Now let's keep going through and we'll stick to the spots now. So we've got long plucks. We've got our muted piano. fact, this bears out having a listen to the different mics. So lovely stuff there. Next up, nail plugs. And again, let's pop a bit of, so you get the idea. Next up, paperclip staccatos. We've got our brush strokes. And again, if we put in the room here, gorgeous. Let's take those out. Let's keep going through. Mallet harmonics. We've got our palm hits. We've got timp stick. Oh, I love these ones actually. Just to mute that. So timps, the timp stick patch sounds like this. And if we put the room in, gorgeous sound. That is really lovely stuff. So that's the final effect within the various effects patch. And again, if we go into the mic sets here and look at the spots, you've got the same thing for the spots and the same thing for the mids. Mic selections, we've got the same thing for each of these. So you're covered all the way around. One thing might be quite interesting to hear, which I love, is let's go into the distance compensated. I'm going to show you what it sounds like with the bottle. So you'd be familiar with the bottle mic from Hans Zimmer percussion series. Check this out. So that's pretty cool. And then just to pick a couple of things at random, let's check out the near gallery. Let's check out our outriggers. Let's check out the tree. So some really lovely stuff in there, and you've got a ton of different options to really make it controllable and get exactly the sound that you want. You can go from a really very kind of tight, close-in sound from the spots, and then all the way through to the huge ambience. You've got your super soft stuff and your normal kind of performance patch. We've got the great effects in there, some really lovely harmonic stuff and all kinds of percussive effects. One of the things that's going to be quite useful in the library, just as a final kind of look at this, is to be able to scale it down using the, if you want to use it on your laptop, then you can pull the round robins down. So if you notice that this patch currently loads in at 228, but if I literally pull that down to 1, we've dropped that to 70. You're not going to, it's obviously kind of only using one round robin, but there's enough kind of differentiation, there's enough kind of levels of dynamic and all that kind of stuff that you really aren't going to notice. But it's always good if you're working on your kind of full system and desktop system to have. that all set up. We've got a couple of little options here. The auto pedal volume, we've modeled in, we've recorded quite a lot of pedal noise, the pedal going down, the pedal releasing individually at different dynamics. So if I turn this off, I can show you that. If I pull that right up to the top, you can hear the pedal going up and down, mid sort of level. You can hear it now. If we pull in the full and bright patch, actually I'll put all the mics on. Let's turn auto pedal volume off. I'm going to put all the mics on and then just work the sustain pedal. So with those, hopefully that comes through on YouTube. With those like bat-like hearing, you'll be able to hear that kind of mid-level, like that. And then if we really turn it up, kind of super high volume, you can really get excessive, super forte pedal recording. So that was a kind of interesting conceptual thing as well. Actually, sitting looking at the pedal and trying to work out how hard do you hit the pedal when you're playing, and sometimes you really want to whack it down to get that kind of effect, and that is perfectly possible here. Another great engine from Blake, some beautiful scripting and kind of performance design in there from Andy Blaney. We really have honed this piano, so I think that you'll have a lot of fun using this. It's a really enjoyable and inspiring instrument to play. And when we go right back to the beginning of those first conversations with Hans in March of 2014, it all came down to that. It's about inspiration. We want to design an instrument that is really flexible, that has loads of great sounds in, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to sit, start playing, and you want to hear that sound and just go, wow, this kind of beauty of, this beautiful piano recorded in a beautiful space. That's what it's all about. For us, we're very excited to show you this. I really can't wait to hear what people start coming up with. I've been having a lot of fun kind of messing around on it recently, playing bits and pieces of Debussy that I can remember from my childhood. But really looking forward to hearing what you guys come up with. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.